What if I told you that the brand new episode of South Park almost didn't happen again? That's right, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the legendary minds behind the show, have been cutting it closer and closer to deadline this season. And last week, they actually missed it. Fans tuned in on September 17th, expecting episode 5, only to be left waiting. But tonight, the wait is officially over. The boys are back on time. The episode is finished, and Season 27, Episode 5, titled Conflict of Interest, is set to air. If you've been following the season, you already know things have been wild. Butters went on a strange, hilarious quest for one of those creepy yet cute Labubu dolls. Satan was revealed to be carrying Donald Trump's baby. Yes, you heard that right. And Jesus? Well, he's not exactly thriving in his new role as a guidance counselor. Only South Park can take these kinds of stories and make them both shocking and laugh-out-loud funny. And this week promises to be just as outrageous. So what exactly is going down in Conflict of Interest? This week's story is all about Kyle and Cartman, which already tells you sparks are going to fly. The two of them have been butting heads since the very beginning of the series, but now their rivalry takes a new turn, thanks to a prediction markets app that suddenly becomes the hot trend at South Park Elementary. Imagine kids placing bets on everything from cafeteria menu changes to who's going to get detention, and you'll get the idea. The app spreads fast, and it turns the school into a chaos-filled stock exchange. Kyle sees it one way, Cartman sees it another, and as always, their feud turns into the centerpiece of the comedy. What makes this even better is that Parker and Stone are clearly pulling from real-life crazes. Because let's be honest, prediction markets and crypto-style apps are popping up everywhere. South Park has always thrived on turning current trends into absurd playground wars. And this setup is perfect for it. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Trey Parker and Matt Stone admitted that part of the reason the episodes are delayed is because they're literally making them at the very last minute. We're talking right up against airtime. They've done this before in past seasons. But it feels especially intense right now because so much news is happening every single day, especially with Trump dominating headlines. In fact, a source told Deadline that the creators aren't willing to rush just to meet a deadline if it means missing a chance to satirize what's happening in real time. That's why Episode 4 was pushed and Episode 5 almost didn't make it either. Think about that. The writers and animators are basically sprinting to create an entire episode in less than a week, trying to capture the chaos of the world as it happens. And honestly, that's part of the magic of South Park. It's messy, it's risky, but it's also why the show always feels so fresh and relevant. So if you're wondering exactly when and where you can watch Conflict of Interest, here's the deal. The episode is premiering tonight, September 24th at 10 p.m. Arizona time on Comedy Central. That means if you've got cable or access to Comedy Central through a provider, you can catch it live the old school way. But if you're more of a streamer, don't worry. It'll be available the very next day on Paramount+. That's become the go-to place for new South Park episodes, and it's super convenient if you miss the live airing. Keep in mind, though, the season is no longer following the traditional weekly drop schedule. Instead, the show is moving to a bi-weekly release rhythm. That gives Parker and Stone more breathing room to stay timely and sharpen the jokes. But it also means fans have to wait just a little bit longer between doses of chaos from the boys of South Park. And let's be real, the waiting might actually make things better. Because when South Park lands, it doesn't just land, it hits like a cultural grenade. Episode 4 proved that with its insane mix of Butters, Labubu dolls, and a supernatural political twist that only this show could pull off. Now with Episode 5, the focus shifts back to Kyle and Cartman, two characters whose rivalry is basically the heartbeat of the series. Their constant battles mirror bigger themes: loyalty, greed, morality, even how we all deal with technology taking over our lives. A silly app in the hands of these kids becomes a way to poke fun at society's obsession with making money off predictions and trends. And you know Cartman, he'll take it too far. He'll manipulate, cheat, and somehow turn the whole thing into a personal empire. Meanwhile, Kyle will be the voice of reason, and that clash always makes for some of the sharpest, funniest moments South Park delivers. But beyond the laughs, what makes this season fascinating is how unpredictable it feels. Fans never really know if the next episode is going to show up on schedule or get delayed, and that tension kind of mirrors the craziness of the world the show is parodying. Parker and Stone have built a reputation on being fearless, taking risks, and making fun of absolutely everyone, politicians, celebrities, even the fans themselves. And in 2025, with so much happening literally day to day, it feels like South Park is one of the few shows still willing to dive headfirst into the chaos. You never know who's going to show up: Trump, Satan, Jesus, or some bizarre new pop culture craze turned upside down and inside out. That unpredictability is part of why the fan base stays loyal after almost 3 decades. The show isn't just entertainment. It's a snapshot of our culture's weirdest, most absurd impulses, served up in crude animation and brutal punchlines. And if you think about it, the way South Park is being made right now almost mirrors the way we consume media. Everything is fast, everything is reactive, and nothing waits for a neat little schedule anymore. Parker and Stone basically said, if the world's moving this quickly, why should we tie ourselves to a rigid timeline? That's why sometimes an episode misses its air date, but when it finally shows up, it's laser-focused on what just happened in the real world. Compare that to other animated shows that need months or even years to finish a single episode. By the time they air, the joke is old. South Park stays alive by being risky, messy, and flexible. And honestly, fans seem to respect that trade-off. Sure, people get mad when an episode is delayed, but they also know that when it finally airs, it's going to be sharper, edgier, and more relevant than anything else on TV. That's the payoff we all tune in for. So tonight's episode, Conflict of Interest, isn't just another entry in Season 27. It's proof that even after all these years, South Park still knows how to surprise us. From Cartman scheming his way through a new digital craze, to Kyle standing his moral ground, the stage is set for another unforgettable clash that'll keep fans talking long after the credits roll. And beyond the laughs, it's also a reminder of why this show matters. It's crude, it's chaotic, but it's also fearless. Trey Parker and Matt Stone refuse to water it down, even if that means missing deadlines or stretching out the season. They'd rather get it right than play it safe, and that's exactly why people still care. So whether you're watching live on Comedy Central at 10 p.m. or streaming on Paramount Plus tomorrow, grab your snacks, turn off your brain for 20 minutes, and get ready to laugh at the madness of the world through the most outrageous lens possible: South Park.